Hello and welcome, welcome, welcome to our community discussion group. It's also a community encounter. So glad to see all of you back and glad to see you all here. I'm Dr. Gary Samuelson, as many know, and this is an opportunity for everyone, universe in the universe, to come together and hold a discussion of some of the truths and understandings that we have as far as health goes. The idea behind this community is to help each other to achieve our optimal self. And hopefully I have a subject that will be inspiring to you today. Judy has gotten some eye issues, not able to do her presentation or to lead the discussion today. So I'm taking over for a little bit. And doing a follow-up to the discussion that I led before, which was on universal solutions. And I don't know if you remember that, but some of you may have been here, some of you weren't here. So I'll review just a little bit what I mean by a universal solution. And then we'll go into some fun things here. Okay. And I told you before that I love truth. And so you're going to get into my mind a little bit again this time, and I'm going, as I explain what I believe to be universal truths, which also point to universal solutions. And last time we went over and said, what is truth and how do we perceive it in our daily lives? And that's very interesting, you know. But as a scientist, we have a different mechanism, a way to find truth. Well, we use observation in order to be able to sort through all of the different mechanisms. And we have over 1 million studies that are published every year on on all sorts of different subjects in scientific, where the studies outline data that has been taken out there in the world, in the laboratories and et cetera, that are able to allow us to understand and discern what the truth is. So, here on this earth, the earth is spherical, by the way. If you take data looking at the heavens from the one side of the earth, here's the moon, you'll see the moon pointing this way. If you go on the other side of the earth, you see the moon pointing the other way. It's pretty easy to get data that way. You just call your friend on the other side of the world and ask them to take a picture of the moon and the stars and the other planetary bodies, and you'll find that as you travel around the earth, you see these different observations. Galileo was one of my heroes. He was able to discern truth also by his observation of the heavens. And he said, I believe that the earth goes around the sun. And, the political or the religious leader at the time, it was the Pope, he said, I don't believe so. I believe the earth is the center of the universe. And the earth is flat, and there are a whole bunch of different things. And he said, well, which do you think will fall faster? And he took, I believe it was a grape and an orange. And he said, and the Pope said, well, of course, the orange will fall faster. Then he dropped both of them. He was accused of witchcraft. He did not make good friends in high political places and was thrown into prison and actually died from some of the effects. He was asked to recant that the earth indeed did go around the sun. He said that, and the earth, and after the court, well, he was walking out of the courtroom, he said, but it still does. So we're able to find universal truths by studies. And so I'm going to give a few examples of a few studies today. We have found that the human body is made of millions of different types of tissues, thousands of systems, all connected in union, millions of sensors and nerves that connect our body together, all of the cells in our body, the trillions of cells, to make who we are. And we found that what we are and who we are and how we become healthy depends mainly on what we give our body to build the systems that we have. For example, nutrition and hydration are very important things. We need water. Our cells need water. Our cells need the proper type of nutrients. And if we provide this, then all of the different systems that are in our body actually are able to perform optimally. The muscular system, the fascia, the different systems of the body, the endocrine system, which is our hormonal system, which passes messages between our body and lets us feel emotions, regulates our mental state. We're going to be talking a little bit about that later on today. Today, we're going to talk a little bit more about the mind. And our nutrition and digestive system, well, I'm sorry, the nutrition and the digestive system, or our digestive system, which has specialized cells that pull the nutrition in from the intestines and also require that bacteria and other things be there. We're learning all about this. They're all very well connected in our body. So we talked a little bit last time about the epidemic of dehydration. So I'm going to pop out of here. I'm going to show you a few studies, just in case you don't believe me. Okay. Here's a study from the National Institute of Health, published by Sean Rabel and Brenda Davey. And they basically say that it's difficult to measure hydration, but if we are able to see what the correlation between hydration and our daily cognitive performance is, we can run studies, and they've done so. And they found, I'm going to go down here, that cognitive performance assessments, that a person's awareness and judgment and cognitive functions vary on their level of hydration. And so they take different types of cognitive assessments, and they explained a little bit in the study how they do it. And they try to factor out environmental and individual factors and et cetera, to be a little bit more thing. They say that we've learned that even mild hydration, which means 1 to 2% body loss. And what causes dehydration? Well, if the body is losing more water than it's taking in, it's becoming dehydrated. Diuretics, drugs, diet, the things that I mentioned, before on the slide, they're all ways that the body loses hydration. So here's a case, a 38-year-old mother, full-time job. She went out and ran, very active. She ran, I believe what was it? She goes to the gym in the afternoon and she ran a 10K on Saturday. And then she started having pounding headaches. and she was tired and lethargic, and she wasn't able to make sense at work. She was making a lot of mistakes at work and such. What's the problem? And they found that it was her fluid intake. In fact, as soon as she became hydrated again, had the correct amount of electrolytes and fluids in her body, then that took care of all of that, all of these problems. So hydration, and there are hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of studies that back up the fact that hydration actually is, oops, I'm going to go back here, is a factor in your health. Now, believe it or not, about 22% of cardiovascular disease is correlated with poor hydration. And so there are positive correlations between dehydration and dementia, and Alzheimer's, heart disease, diabetes, acid reflux, arthritis, constipation, moodiness, autoimmune problems, and as we had just looked at, the decrease in mental capacity. And that's all caused by a lack of water. So lack of water is a universal truth. In fact, as we start accepting these truths, just like we accept that the Earth now is a globe and we're a tiny little planet circling the sun, it opens our mind up to the whole universe of possibilities. When we see these truths, when these universal truths are known, it gives us the opportunity or the ability to have power over our environment. So one way we can do is just drink electrolytic water. We talked about this a little bit before. All right. Here is a wonderful study that was done on nutrition. And I'll explain it a little bit. This is a study done, compiled by T. Colin Campbell and Thomas Campbell, a PhD and MD, respectively. It's called the China study. I mean, how many of you have actually heard of this study or read it? It's fascinating. We can discuss a little bit about what it contains. I wanted to go in just quickly while I'm doing this, and we'll look at just a summary of the China study. Now, they did the China study back in the 80s because they realized that different communities in China did not, these small little communities in China did not move around, and their diet was all localized, which meant that they pretty much ate the same thing from birth to death. And each of these localized diets then varied a little bit from one area to the other. So they did a study, or compiled a study, of government data over 80 million people. And they were looking for correlations between the diet, the things that people eat, and different indications: heart disease, cancer, osteoporosis, and other things. And where in some areas in China, 4 of every 100,000 males die of heart disease. In the United States, 67 out of 100,000 die in heart disease. And that's true for breast cancer and diabetes and all sorts of other, and osteoporosis and all sorts of other different areas. And the question was, will this diet make a difference? You know? And so I kind of explained a little bit of this. What the studies found, there are different diseases that are associated with different types of socioeconomic groups. But they found that osteoporosis, do we need more calcium? That was question just to supplement, the calcium that we lose from. And what they found out is that dairy and protein foods are the highest correlation to osteoporosis, not calcium. In fact, in many areas of China, the calcium levels are lower than even the lowest levels here in the United States. But since they don't eat a lot of dairy products and proteins, they don't need as much calcium, and they have much higher calcium levels. And osteoporosis is much less prevalent. So it's interesting. We suggest you eat plenty of vegetables. These vegetables contain a good amount of calcium without the drawbacks of high protein, it says. 1 cup of broccoli, for example, has plenty of calcium in it. We don't need to use a lot of animal fats and dairy products. In fact, do you know what the CHC diet is? That you take half of your plate every meal and pile it high with the greens, yellows, oranges, the vegetables, these type of things. And if you do, then you'll receive the micronutrients that you need. How about calories? Actually, the Chinese people ate more calories than we do. And yet, per kilogram, even 30% higher than what we do here in the United States. They eat more calories per day. And even among the factory workers and the office workers and it's such, their obesity rates are much lower than ours. So calories don't explain why we're getting obese or fat. But there are a lot of different foods that are correlated with fats, and if you want to, you can look at these foods that are high in antioxidants, cholesterol, which comes from mostly that comes from eating animal products, and heart disease. All of these things are correlated. Here's an animal fat intake, for example. Versus breast cancer. And you can see a very high correlation between the two. So I'm not going to go into that too much, but I will encourage you to say that, well, the studies that we are running, that we have run, 80 million people, that's a large study. There's a lot of information that's contained in this book. Do you know what it all comes down to, though, in this study? The people that eat more than a half a plate of vegetables on their plate every day are 10 times at least more healthy and all of these indicators than the people that do not. So that's it. And the people who eat low amounts of proteins in their diet and larger amounts of micronutrients that are the most healthy of them all. And we found that 80%, in fact, of cardiovascular disease can be prevented by just eating your veggies. Okay. Yeah, what do you think of that? So here's another yeah. Think, by the way, if you have questions or comments, just kind of put them on hold. I'll finish off a few more thoughts here, and then we can open this up to discussion. So how do we learn? Here's a beautiful picture of a horse with their newly born colt. And if you've ever seen this, it's beautiful. The horse and the colt are running through the fields together. And the mother is teaching the colt, how to run, how to frolic. It's so just a beautiful type of thing. In fact, I thought that I might want to show you a video on this. If I can see what it is up here. Here you go. Here's a video of a newborn colt learning how, as a foal in this case, learning how to stand for the first time. Now, the mother, notice, and even the siblings can't do it for them. They have to make mistakes. Horses and all animals are not born with an innate ability to stand and to walk or to do anything, actually. So how do they learn? Notice the colt is learning by making mistakes, by trying things out. When they don't work so well, then they learn by falling down and then trying again. And the question is, well, is this universal? Is this universal to all forms of life? In fact, is this what we mean by learning? You can't just read a book, for example, and then know how to play the piano, or read a book and know how to play sports. These things are done on a little. In fact, it's really interesting that human babies, take more than a year sometimes to learn how to walk. And so even people with higher intelligence, or animals with higher intelligence, have a harder time even learning the basic thing. But anyway, I thought that you might find that to be fun. Now they're finding that you even need to teach machines how to walk through trial and error. So this is a robot. And it's kind of interesting to see that, the robot's trying out different things, and some things work, some things don't. And it looks a little bit, well, maybe not so much, but it looks a little bit like the calf trying to learn how to walk. 20 minutes, it's able to turn itself over, try a few steps, In 30 minutes, it's getting a little better. To me, this is absolutely fascinating, because you'd think, oh, you just can program these things with lines of code that tell it step by step which foot to put down and which foot to pick up and stuff like that. But it turns out that even that's not able to give the machines, the ability to walk. That you need to actually teach machines, or have them learn the same way that we learn, by falling down and picking ourselves back up again. So it seems that to me that, the way we learn is universal. It's not bad to make mistakes. In fact, my wife and I were talking about this morning. What would happen if in the case of the colt or the foal, if the mother were to get impatient and push him around or try to pull him up or try to give him, the mother just stands patiently by while the foal goes through its little learning exercise, and then gives them love and attention. And when the foal learns to do so, then he's able to run through the fields with the mother, and that's wonderful. But learning that way is universal, and we need to learn how to do it with ourselves. We learn truth from what we experience, what we see in the world around us, what we feel is credible, and things that are proven by observation in the case of science and such. And then we've learned the true principles that I talked earlier, that our body is made out of cells. And these principles can give us a great advantage. We also learned that our brains are plastic. They change. The synaptic connections change. In fact, all of our memories are encoded in how our brain cells talk to each other through these little synapses and such. And we have to, just as always, use these pathways or lose these pathways. The ones that work become reinforced. The ones that don't work become lost. And that's the way all learning takes place. So I like to mention this guy all the time when we're talking about learning. When he was a young kid, his name is Jim Quick. He was not able to read. He was not able to do basic math. He was sat in the back of his classroom and told, you'll never be able to learn. And he taught himself how to read through comic books. Now, it seems interesting to me, that what would happen if he had a teacher or something. Oh, you can't read those comic books. You got to read these books here. Try to learn to read using these types of books and such. But he was fascinated with Spider-Man and other things, and that gave him the fascination and the motivation that he needed in order to be able to learn how to read. And now he has become such an expert on learning that he is giving international conferences and is well respected worldwide as teaching other people how to memorize and learn. He can memorize, hundreds of people's names, where they're from, in a room. And he tells us that learning comes from being excited, fascinated, forgetting what you know or you think you know, and just wanting to understand everything around you. And so that's how to learn. That's also what I think a universal principle of how we learn. And there's nothing that can take this away from us, take our learning away from us, as we go through. We learn true principles, we learn knowledge. Knowledge leads us to actions. We learn power. These things are learned little by little. Our learning also helps us establish beliefs, and our beliefs in our subconscious mind are the things which program our subconscious mind to take action. And you saw that when the horse was learning to stand and run, walk. First needed to believe that it could be done, then try again until it finally got it right. So how do we motivate action? we have to have the faith to overcome our fears, to put our goals in mind, the things that we want to achieve, to make our vision bigger than our obstacles. And this really is the only way. Then step by step, we learn how to do it. We make mistakes. And that's the science of mental change and mental development. Things like I don't have time or I'm not capable or such are probably the worst enemies that we have. Because if we set our goal and we set our image for what we want and we're excited about that goal, and then daily check the progress of how we are coming toward that goal. For example, hydration. How much water did you drink every day? Then the chances of achieving that goal are greatly enhanced. And one of the things that I've learned also, that if you have a group of people around you that are doing the same thing, that have the same goals, and that are encouraging you and helping you achieve what you believe to be, then the chances that you will be able to achieve what you believe are augmented incredibly. And that all comes from this universal concept of learning. And may I add also forgiving other people for their mistakes and going onward with your life. And those are all part of learning to become the best we can become in this life. So, great. What did you think? What did you think of that now? Did those universal truths resonate a little bit with you? Do you have a desire to go out and learn a little bit more now about maybe read the book, Peg?
I was wondering, how do we know when when our body's actually hydrated? How can we measure that?
Okay. Are there anybody that knows about this in the audience in our group here?
I know that by doing, drinking or electrolytes, like you've mentioned, which I have my water with me everywhere. I take it with me everywhere. But how would your body feel when you are totally hydrated?
Mhm.
I guess that's the question.
Yeah.
Aside
Well,
from,
the science is such that if you urinate and the urine is a very light yellow color, then you usually are well hydrated. If it's a darker yellow color, then you're not. So that's one way.
uh,
That's one way to know.
because I have a friend, well, she says, well, I do drink water, but I think maybe she's not drinking enough water. And there was this drastic change all of a sudden, like being confused and uh, not feeling safe, and so she's just like in a state, and it's just not a good a happy picture at all. And so they feel like she has acute anxiety disorder. So here we go. It's like, okay, now the person, they're giving her these meds, but if they're not paying attention to her nutrition and her hydration, I don't know. So great discussion today.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Peg. Yeah. Good. Great, Sally.
Yeah, I was just, I'm really glad you mentioned it, that it's a global uh, pandemic. I posted that. So, because it's so true, you have to make yourself drink water. You have to. My mom, we had to make sure we had water bottles where she was sitting. So she just would forget every time. And she got dementia. Recently, our poor cat must have ate a neighbor's some poison to put out for maybe a mouse ate, and she ate. and he would, and she lost so much weight. She wasn't eating, drinking. She went down to like skin and bones. Her eyes were sinking in. So we started giving her the ASEA water and getting her to drink, and she was getting better. She was starting to eat. And then I guess because my daughter thinks because she was kind of forcing her, which I told her, you just go gentle with her, you know, like let her want to. And so we're doing that now, but she disappeared for 4 days. Like she was doing good. Her eyes were sunk in her head. Before that, her um well, when she got better, she started even running a little bit. She was doing so well. So that could be the reason. And then we have a bully cat here. So she took off for 4 days. She came back all over again. So we're giving her water for the first time since yesterday. She's drinking water. Like we gave her the sea water by a little syringe. So, but yeah, it's so important, water, to get it into us all. We really need it. So I'm really glad about what you said about, I always put it in these bottles. The sea water, not the sea water. Like I drink the sea water, but after it's emptied, I make my electrolytes with the water lemon, as you had mentioned. That's excellent advice.
Great. Yeah. So how do you know when you're hydrated? Well, if you're taking about 2 liters a day, there's no way you can be dehydrated. You know, because that's about what the body is passing out every day. Unless you're taking diuretics or something, then you may have to take a little bit more water or exercising. Okay, Dana. Hey, hi, Dana. Could you unmute yourself?
Oh, wonderful to be here. I was chuckling. I've been gone all summer, and that universal principle that I learned with you 4+ years ago has been one of the greatest tools in my toolbox. And this summer, sailing with all these adults, I got the title Dr. Dana because I've got a headache. Hand them electrolyte water bottle. My sister's grumpy. Hand her a water bottle. Everything. My sister with an autoimmune problem. Hand her a water bottle. So anyway, that is a universal truth, and boy, it cures so many symptoms. So thank you.
Yeah, don't let anybody know, huh? Of course, I'm kidding. Okay, yeah. Nice to see you, Dana. Wonderful. Yeah.
Doctor,
Yes,
I
yeah.
have a question about, like drinking from, once we finish the ASEA bottle, you fill it up with water. How many times can you do that, and how clean the bottle would be? Can you use it like for a week and
No.
then replace it once you have it? I mean, the plastic, the material, because that's important too, right?
Yeah. Well, it depends on the contamination that gets into the bottle. So if you're drinking it out of the bottle, like some people do, then maybe you will have to wash it out a little bit more. Here's what we do in our house, and it's a little bit wasteful, but we have plenty of Redox, and so we put a little bit of the Redox in the bottle and swish it around, and that'll completely get rid of all of the germs, sanitize it, and clean it out, and then wash it out with filtered water.
Thank you.
So yeah.
You can also clean it with white vinegar and water as well, and swish it around, and then clean it out with purified water again. And then I put some in my dishwasher to drain upside down.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And then my kids complain about the vinegar smell for 10 minutes afterwards.
Got to rinse it out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Well, I have a turnover of ASEA bottles, so I just get a new one.
Yeah. That's
Okay, just to wash it out and, with soap and, dish soap and water and drain it. If I don't drink out of it, I'm expecting full clean.
Yeah. Okay.
yep. Imagine that, huh?
And if you don't drink purified water, you're drinking fluoride and a lot of extra chlorine and stuff. So
Well, I do drink purified water.
okay, that's a big difference sometimes.
Yeah. Do you know, Judy, any studies on fluoridation and health?
Not off the top of my head, I don't. No, I have read some in the past, but
Mhm.
the fluoride was used in concentration camps for a reason.
Mhm.
What about in toothpaste?
Yeah. What about in
You don't
toothpaste?
need fluoride. It is not a nutrient that you need.
Okay, that is the answer. That's the answer. Fluoride is used, or chloride, to sterilize the water. If you have a good source of clean natural water, you don't really even need to sterilize the water. In fact, the little lemon drops you put in there help also to sterilize it. And so, yeah.
Wow.
But you're right. Chlorine and fluorine are not necessary elements that we need for our body. Yeah. The general, by the way, the universal truth of the body is that anything that is not used by the body, that's not a micronutrient, is a toxin. It gets in the way. It gets in the way of your body's own processes. So why would you want to take something that your body's just going to try to get rid of into your body? Fluoride also replaces the calcium in your bones and such, and can cause various problems later on.
I've had this thought that with all the different types of cancers that people get, and people that you would think of that would never get cancer or whatever, that the things that we put on our body, like deodorants that you use, shampoo, all that stuff, I bet if you did a search on the ingredients in there, you might find some of the things are cancer causing, but they don't tell you about that. So after years of using deodorants and hair stuff and all that stuff, I think that's a cause of why people get things.
Yeah, aluminum, yuck.
I mean,
By the way,
there's just so
aluminum
many.
oxides are actually there are some things that are neurotoxins. Known neurotoxins that are in our foods and our deodorants. It's crazy. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sally. If you could unmute yourself, that would be great.
Okay.
Thanks. Oops, still can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just going to ask about the Listerine or like any kind of mouthwash. I use ASEA now, and it seems to clean my teeth. Like I floss and clean them well before and toothpaste. I do use toothpaste. I'd like to get a natural kind. Like mouthwash, is it does it take the enamel off? Like I just stick with ASEA water, and it freshens my breath, and then I drink it. I swish and drink it. But should we be using Listerine to kill bacteria on top of that sometimes? Or when we brush our teeth?
Well, that's
Like
a
not
good.
Listerine, but anything like that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anything that's not natural is questionable. I don't know that much about Listerine.
Yeah.
I do know the stuff that you use to sanitize, and then you spit it out is not as you know, as toxic as the stuff that you drink, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't drink it. So yeah, but the sea water we can drink. We can swish. You know,
Yeah.
your breath especially feel it push down.
My mom used to use cloves.
Oh,
So she would chew on a clove for a little while, and that would completely, you know, get her breath. And
yeah.
Gary, we use the nano. Remember, the nano also kills bacteria.
no, yeah.
That's what you use and I use. Mhm.
Well,
The
I
nano silver.
use the nano silver. Yeah. Good, Janaki.
I can give advice on this because we've had several, or my whole family is affected by tooth things, and so we swish with extra virgin coconut oil, and I even do that with my dog because she's, you know, they get these what's it called, plaque. And she just loves to, I put lots of in on her toothbrush, and the veterinarian is so satisfied after we started this. And I know my mother, who is, she's had so many operations in her mouth. She did the Listerine before, and then when she started no fluoride tooth paste and only this she had some aloe vera and this extra virgin oil. The dentist said, whatever you're doing now, keep doing it because it's working. You don't have periodontitis and things anymore. So yeah, try it on the animals of the family and you'll see.
Oh, great. Sodium bicarbonate or baking soda also is really great for, yeah.
Tastes like shit then.
Oh, yeah, I know. I hate the taste. Great. Thanks, you, Danica. Oh, Sally, again.
I'm not sure if you heard of one webinar I heard when I first started getting into ASEA. He made the water recipe book. I forget what doctor it is. And in it, he was saying about we should have water between 6 and 6 at night. Have you heard of that? Like, that's kind of the time. And in the morning for 2 hours, try to get your first two, like 16 ounces of water. Like, you know, of course we have to eat when we feel hungry, but I thought that was a good idea. And I've been doing that to start my day like that.
No, that's a very good piece of advice. About a half a liter in the morning before anything else. Half a liter of the electrolyte water. Yeah. And also before meals, before the evening meal, about a half an hour again before evening meal to take about a half a liter. So there's 1 liter already, and then you just can drink it as you will throughout the rest of the day, the other liter.
Yeah. And warm water too in the evenings is supposed to be better, like the cold water. I heard before.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not too difficult. Really is not that hard. I enjoy the virgin coconut oil because that has some medium chain oil lipids in there that are really good for you. Yeah. Any other ideas? Elizabeth, you look like you have some thoughts.
Oh, I just listen, and it's so, I like everything you say here, and I just listen and take notes, and because I have some problem again, it came back, so I just wonder what's the thing.
Yes, I know. Yeah, we've been praying for you and hoping that you can find good solutions for everything that you're going through. Yeah. By the way, when I say optimal health and optimal such, that just means basically that you're giving the body everything that it needs in order to be able to function optimally. It doesn't mean that you're going to live forever. unfortunately. um, life is a temporary and beautiful thing, and we need to treat it that way. Our body is a beautiful thing, and we need to treat it that way too, I believe. Yeah. Anyone else want to make a comment?
Sally, are you trying to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say that I heard for what was it, 16? We should try to up our dose of the ASEA water until we reach like 16 ounces a day for a month to flush out our system, I guess, and for everything. And then you can go down to the regular, whatever you like. Am I saying that right, Dr. Gary Samuelson?
Yeah, there is an advantage.
What? No.
Oops, excuse me. That was my wife. Just a second, I'll mute her.
Well,
Well,
all right, Iris.
I get a chance to mute my wife. That's her deal. No, I'm just kidding. No, well, the ASEA water and the redox and such, it is the effect of it depends on the person that is taking it. Your body, each body is different. Everyone is different. So in many cases, I say what you want to do is spike it, which means take larger amounts for 3 days of the week, and then smaller amounts for the next little while. That's my usual thing. The reason for that is that you can monitor your body's response. And also, if you're taking large amounts for long periods of time, the body actually kind of acclimates or adjusts to that amount. And then when you go back, I kind of like the idea of cycling it. So you can try that out. And especially if you have a condition that you're dealing with and you want to see if taking more will help, then cycling it high for 3 days gives you a very good idea of whether that's going to be beneficial for you or not.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
I have been taking a lot of ASEA for the last 7 years. From the beginning and for many years, I took 4 cups, 4 days, 4 times a week. Is it better to take 2 cups every second hour? Because I don't dare to reduce the amount. Understand? Maybe this last year I've taken a little less than before, but now I started to take in 2 cups every second hour. Is it a good way to do you think? Or to do take you say you can recycling it? What did you say?
Oh no, I said cycling it, going high for 3 or 4 days, like 8 ounces, which would be 4 cups.
Yeah. Is it too much to take
twice a day?
Do you think is it a bad thing choice to take 2 cups every second hour?
Well, the wonderful thing about this product, the Redox product, is that there's no downside to it. You can try more if you wish.
Yeah.
And so taking 8 ounces, which are 4 of the cups,
yeah,
all at once, I have found is probably the maximum that you need. You can try lesser amounts. Okay. Again, this is all based on your individual response. Less of amount. I've found that people that have been taking large amounts of ASEA for long periods of time, sometimes if they give their body a rest. So what the redox tries to do, or what it does in your body, is to activate the cells against those that are damaged. and helps to get the damaged cells out. It takes a lot of energy to do that. So it's sort of like an athlete, you know, you're just saying go, 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 go all the time. Sometimes it just needs a few days of rest.
Tror jag ska göra det.
So taking less ASEA, giving your body some time to catch up, and then bringing it back up has never been detrimental. What's detrimental, I guess, is if you need to have that and you don't supply your body with the things that you needed to have, then damage can accumulate faster. So
Okay, thank you.
So
I will try.
how much is less? Usually about 2 ounces twice a day, which is their normal amount. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
They've sort of been suggesting lately that you try taking, like more like in the morning and then not, and then more at night or something like that, like keeping it apart and not doing it all the time. But then they say you could try what you were just asking too, Elizabeth. So
well, here's the deal. You know, I've given plenty of advice on this. I think that what I've told you there is about the best. Your body knows the best thing. You try, experiment with your body, and that includes, you know, with different foods and with different diets and such. You can experiment with your body. Changing things up is not bad. And then your body is an interesting way of giving you feedback. If you're feeling better, usually you are better when you try it. So don't be afraid of experimenting. In fact, that's all of these studies that I was showing you today are results of experimentation, or not, except for the China study, which is basically just an observational study. But the studies, you know, we experiment around, we see which works best, and that would be my advice to you. So it's kind of interesting that we spent almost all of our time here talking about hydration. One of the most simple, understandable, and practicable laws of health that we have. And we're talking about hydration and how well it works. And it's very, very interesting to me that something so simple can have such a great effect on our health and the public health. No, how about nutrition though? How about micronutrients? We hardly even touched on some of those things. How many of you, I'm going to wrap this up in a minute, we're out of time, but how many of you then do take half a plate of vegetables and or a smoothie with the vegetables every single day or every meal?
I try. I think about it.
You think about it, yes.
Well, no, when I eat I think about that, and so I notice that I'm like kind of like shied away from eating a lot of animal protein and really pile up on the vegetables. Like last night, I cooked a stir fry, and I have to say that it was more than half of all vegetables and just a teeny bit of meat. And so I do think about that. And I think that's the key is being conscious of eating, just like you said. Because when I go to eat, I said, oh, half my plate. Now that's what I tell people too. Half your plate should be fruits and vegetables and whatever. So, and if it's not vegetables, then it's fruit. That's how I do it.
Okay, very well. Sally?
What I heard before is trying to get your 5 different colors of fruits. So I try for that in the morning. So like I have my blueberries. I usually always take them to bed in a little container because it has the antioxidants and helps you to sleep, I heard. So that's, and then I have that in the early morning, because I'm up at 5 with my husband. And then like my orange and a banana, so that's orange and yellow. And I try to 5 different colors, even if I take a bite, because I'm not really a big fruit and vegetable eater, but I force myself and I enjoy it then too. Because instead of eating something that's not good, at least it hits a spot. Is that good? Is that a good idea? Did you hear of that before? Dr. Samuelson?
Yep, that's okay. During regular meals is good. You need to, like I said before, everybody's individual. And you try these things out, you'll see if they work. Here's the way that you know that good nutrition is working. You feel alive, you feel awake, you feel energetic. You feel like you can do things throughout the day. If you eat too much proteins or you eat too much carbs, then your body feels a little bit less energetic and a little bit more lethargic. So you get used to this. Athletes get used to this too. They know what type of things they take into their body cause the best performance of their body. And so as I've been switching over, when I switched over to the vegetables, I was amazed how good I felt. I was just amazed how good I felt throughout the day and how much energy I had and et cetera. So that's really what you want to be able to experience, I believe. So again, it's experimental science.
I know we've gone over time a little bit here, but there are 2 questions in the chat. One is, would you take more or less ASEA when you're on antibiotics for some reason?
No.
Okay. And the other one here is, would
Swishing it in the mouth?
swishing ASEA in the mouth, is it a must?
No, it's not a must. It depends on where you want it. If you put it in the mouth, then it's absorbed through the brain and the head area.
But you still don't have to swish it, do you? I hold it in my mouth.
No, you can swish or hold in your mouth, but it'll be absorbed through the mucosal tissues and then into the head, where if you swallow it, then it'll go more down into the digestive system in the body. Yeah.
So I just want to say,
Whoop, go ahead, Peg.
I just wanted to say, so this person I was talking about, okay, so I've been doing ASEA since 2018. And this is a really good friend of mine, and I had presented that to her way back then. Finally, about 3 months ago, I finally got her to start taking it because she was having these problems. She ended up taking that to the doctor, and within a week and a half, said to me, "Well, I can't take this because it has salt in it." I was just like, "Okay, fine," but there you go.
All right. Well, I've heard that so many times too. And I say, well, if you can eat an extra couple of carrots a day, you can stand the sodium in there. Anyway,
Sally, I think, was starting to ask a question too.
Yeah, I think I better wrap this up a little bit though today, because I'm sorry, I have things that I need to get onto today. And my wife has poked in here twice.
Okay, thank you so much. It's really enjoyable.
Here's the thing. There's some universal truths that we just cannot ignore about how our body works. Hydration or water, nutrition, the different nutrients and such are part of that equation. Each individual person may have different requirements at different times in their life. And I believe that you should change it up and you should experiment with your own health, with your own body. under those premises, making sure that you get enough. But here is the thing. We are so ignorant as a society, of a whole, of the universal truths that make our body run, that I believe we all need to just study up on the basics. And what Peg said is absolutely right. She says she's not just thinking about it, she's doing it. And it's in the doing, it's in the action that you get the learning, you get the results. So as you learn more and more how to take care of your body, it is a gradual, step-by-step process and an individual process, very much how the horse learns how to walk and learns how to run. That throughout your whole life, you're learning these things. And I think that is one of the beautiful and most glorious reasons that we live. So that every day we might learn a little bit more about this incredible life that we've been given here on the earth. And so that's my ending comment. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for being here, and please bring your friends, bring everyone. We will see you then next week on Thursday, and maybe Judy will be with us to teach us a little bit about her topic. So keep your eyes peeled to the announcements then too.
Actually, I am scheduled to the next week.
Oh, okay,
So
Sarah.
it will be the topic will be a choice. It's one of the universal truths. So it will be very smooth transition and smooth connection to what Dr. Gary taught us today. But it will move to the mind area. So please come and bring a pen and paper. Thank you.
Ooh, great. Excellent. So we'll see you next week then, everybody. Have a nice week.
Thank you,
Wonderful
everyone.
weekend.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thank
Bye-bye,
you.
everyone.
Have a good week.
Thank you.
Yes, have a nice week. Thank you so
They're wonderful. Thank you.
much.